Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. We're going to talk about October chores to do in the garden, but in just a few moments. But first, a word from our Honeybee Healthy friends at Honeybee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honeybee Healthy has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Attracting pollinators to your garden this year is as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar water and Honeybee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honeybee Healthy is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honeybee Healthy Original to the show's listeners. Enter discount code BGARDEN at checkout for more information, mixing instructions, and more. Visit honeybeehealthy.com. So,
well, the month of
October is soon.
Right. And at this point of the year, there may be some of you who just say, throw a match in it, burn it down, we're done, we'll see you next year. There's others of you who are still diligently active in the garden and trying to maximize the last few nice days, not only for vegetable production, but for maintenance and work around the yard in order to prepare for the next season. Anything we do in life, we're preparing, we're planning ahead. Whether you're a gardener and planning for spring, or a farmer planning for the next crop, or a hunter planning on where to maximize your stand placement in order to best able to harvest what you are trying to hunt. So it's always a planning thing. So there are some things in which we can do in the month of October in your garden, and planting spring bulbs are one of them.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can plant your spring bulbs. You can consider maybe adding new varieties, or you just want to refresh. Maybe you have tulips growing and you're like, I want more. Whatever it may be, you can go with that option. Okay, a couple of things on this. If you are planting bulbs and you want to know how tall these things are going to get, just don't, oh, they're on sale, grab them, plant them. If you're going to plant daffodils and you're going to plant, crocuses, and you're going to plant all these things, you want to stagger them so the smallest height plant or flower is in the front and the taller ones in the back. It may be, that's elementary knowledge there. Some people don't think about that. No, some people don't
just plant and go.
Right, and also, but sometimes crocuses come up first usually.
Right, but
and then the daffodils are later. But yeah.
No, daffodils are first.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via
daffodils are very early in the spring as well. And
I thought daffodils were like April.
They're the first thing that pops out of the ground.
That's crocuses.
No, daffodils. We had them on the farm. That was the first sign of spring, was the daffodils popping up.
But you were more south.
We were in the southern, yeah.
Did you ever have crocuses?
No.
No, okay. So see, that's because you were in the south. So
okay.
Crocuses are first more north.
Regardless of what comes up first in your garden where you're located, make sure that whatever you're planting does not overshadow something else that's behind it that you can't see because the front plant is too tall. Also, if you have the problem of critters digging the bulbs up after you've planted them, what you can do is plant them in an area, take some poultry wire or chicken wire, what's the same thing, just different verbiage based on location, and cover the area where the bulbs are planted. And then cover that chicken wire, poultry wire, with soil to prevent anything from digging up the bulbs.
Right. So you can begin your garden cleanup. You can, you think about as the leaves fall, plants die back. So what you can do is you can start to either pull those plants out. I actually saw something recently, a good tip about if you did have issues with the any sort of disease, or I guess not a tip, but a reminder, if you had issues with any sort of disease in your garden, to definitely not take those plants and put them in the compost or put them in the street for the city to pick up, but or burn them. You want to just put them directly in the trash.
But some cities don't allow that. Well, here's how you do this. You put them in a black bag, and you put your other trash on top of that. They're not going to open the bags up and go, oh, you've got plant debris here. You put that at the bottom of the can, and then you
Well,
put all.
besides the fact that it's usually just a truck that takes the.
I know, but there's some of these cities that are very particular about what that goes in the.
Right. No, using a black garbage bag is smart.
And putting your other stinky garbage on top. That actually comes out of your house.
Stinky garbage.
Stinky garbage. This is stinky garbage by, whatever. That could be a perfume name.
The kids would like that.
What's that smell? It's called stinky garbage.
All right. So anyway, you want to start pulling the plants out, or
you want, if you have some good one, if some that, like, let's say corn stalks, leave them be. If you've got plant debris that's not disease, leave some of that there for the sole purpose of hibernation and overwintering of good and bad bugs.
But also like if maybe you don't want the stuff just like sticking out of your garden because it bothers you over winter, you can just pull it out and then you can just lay it in your garden.
Right, yeah, you can throw it on the ground,
yeah.
But old corn stalks in the winter are kind of, let them blow in the wind, kind of peaceful.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Picturesque. Picturesque.
Bob Rossist.
Yeah. Okay. So then you also want to think about the fallen leaves, and
don't burn
them. Don't give them to the city. Don't give them to whoever you want to. You can either collect them, you can put them over your garden, you can save them for mulch for next year. But they're so vital to adding nutrients to your soil. And they make a great mulch, so definitely keep them.
If you don't want to pick them up, okay, I get that. You don't want to sit there and bag them up and then bring them around and put them in your vegetable garden. Okay. If you have a bagger on your lawnmower, you could do it that way and then take and dump the bags in the garden, or just mulch it and let it go back into the soil, into the grass, and be done with it. We don't need to rake and all this. And we see this every year. I see it. I don't know if anybody else pays attention. But the first 3 leaves that fall on the ground in a yard, somebody's out there raking. And they're raking and they're raking. They're getting everything picked up. And then the next day, half the tree has already dumped its leaves exactly in the same spot that they spent, you've watched them spend an hour cleaning the few leaves up, chasing them across the yard. I don't know if some people do that just because that's what they do, or they think they're actually accomplishing something.
I don't know.
But yeah, don't burn them, because that is just a waste of good resources. And regardless if you're in the country or in the city, it's just terrible to breathe in.
So one thing we should also talk about is winterizing any sort of aquatic garden, pond, water feature, what have you. So that might include, draining it, cleaning it. If you have some sort of tropical plant situation, whatever you need to do for that. Maybe you bring it in over winter. Just thinking about that, covering it, whatever you do for those ponds, aquatic features, etc.
If you got fish, you got to do something with the fish. However, if you're going to utilize the aquatic feature or the bird bath, and you want it to be utilized all winter long, there are heating coils or water heaters that you can put in the bath itself, large and small, in which will keep the water above freezing to allow the birds to have moisture and a place to do what they need to do inside of that water feature.
Right. So you want to think about that, the process there, make sure you have that on your checklist, especially if it is something where if you live in an area that you could get, I don't think, it's going to freeze immediately, but if you do have tropical plants around that you need to overwinter, something to definitely consider. You want
to mow your grass, continue to mow the lawn 2.5 to 3 inches. In height, grass clippings may be added directly to the compost heap, or you can just let them fall on the ground. So you can do that. Also, it's not done, if you didn't do it in September, fertilize your lawn with a slow-release fertilizer formulated for turf. Not that the final application is high nitrogen or winterizing lawn fertilizer is usually applied in mid-November, about 1 week after the final mowing of the season and before the hard freeze. So based on where you're at, you may not get a hard freeze until December, or you may have one in 3 weeks. So keep that in mind when it comes to that lawn maintenance. But
you do want to feed your lawn in the fall. That is important. and it's recommended by all sorts of experts. So that is when you feed your lawn.
And be aware of the nighttime temperatures. I'm going to guess that many of us probably still have peppers and eggplants and tomatoes. Cucumbers have pretty much piddled out in most areas. You might still have green beans. Those nighttime temperatures are what's going to get you. So if you're able to cover with a cloth, not a plastic, in times in which the temperature is going to dip in the potential frost temperature range, you can do that. We all run into this situation. We got to keep the plants alive for these 2 nights because the next 15 days are above average, and we want to try to maximize everything that we can get out of the garden.
Right. And it's frustrating, but it does happen.
The old saying, Father Time is undefeated. It will come to the point where you have to decide, is it worth the effort of getting home from work and then spending an hour covering everything and then getting up early to uncover everything and then go to work and then do the same thing for 2 or 3 nights in late September, early October, when you know, let's just say in 3 weeks, it's all going to be done with a hard frost or a light freeze.
Right, and it is up to your discretion, especially like you had said, the early morning or the evening, whatever. It's almost like another chore just to keep something alive for a couple more weeks. So you want to protect any trees or shrubs from whether they be winter pests, or I know like people have those arborvitaes
yep,
that they will often wrap in burlap, or if you have rose bushes, some people cover those. Think about that. It might not be time quite yet, but make sure you do have a plan for that so that you can accomplish that when the time comes. And if you plant anything, any new perennials, I think we talked about this last week. Yeah, you want to mulch around the base of it because that will help kind of keep the roots a little bit happier over winter.
Well, summer is over, Holly, for most of us, and the kids are back in school. Nights are getting colder in some areas. You get that pop every now and then of a warm day, but you have forgotten about your lawn. And when you've forgotten about your lawn, there's still bugs in your lawn, grubs, and there's still animals that want to come in your lawn and eat those bugs and destroy your grass.
Yeah, just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards. Those Japanese beetles either, they may be gone, but they're not far. Not only do they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so they can start again next year. You want to take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader, irrigate it into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job. Not
only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it is the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls those grubs. And the best part about it, it's non-toxic to bees and other beneficial insects like butterflies and birds. And, well, birds is an animal, but they're not affected by them as well. In fact, Grub Gone has no label restrictions around flowering plants, so you don't have to worry about those insects or birds picking up that toxicity, if it did exist, and taking it back to their hives, because there is no toxicity. Grub Gone from PhylumBioproducts.com, the natural choice. That's PhylumBioproducts.com.